right there.
That way, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, my friend, for taking time to speak with me today.
No problem at all, mate. Good to see you.
Good to see you. I wanted to ask you about the recording process this time around. This is your fifth time full album. I wanted to ask, how did it go for you this time?
Well, it was different because we recorded some of it at my house where we live. So last two albums, we've sort of done the drums at our rehearsal studio. And this time around, Simon, our producer, wanted to come and do the drums, with us, because previously we recorded them ourselves, and then we've just, changed the sounds, really sampled the sounds. And so he said, no, this time around, I want to really produce Royston. We didn't have the budget to go in the studio, so luckily where I live, I've got some outbuildings that have got stone walls in and wooden walls as well. So he said, oh, that looks cool, we'll do it there. So basically set up an impromptu sort of recording room, in one of the outbuildings, and then basically ran multi-core across the garden from the office where I work, and we just recorded that there. And I did the vocals here as well, so it was good. And then we used a different studio this time around. We went to a studio in Cambridge called Headline Music Studios, which is affiliated with PRS Guitars. So it's really got loads of top spec gear in there, and that was great, So we were there with Simon for about a week, I think. So yeah, all told, it probably took us about 3 weeks over the course of 2023.
I wanted to ask you as well. You resurrected one of the best album artwork people in the business. How did that go for you, and how did you make that happen?
Well, in 2019, we were celebrating our 25th anniversary, and we were looking for somebody to do the artwork on the album. We decided we needed something really, really striking. So I knew of Coot through other people. I didn't know him, but I knew of him, and I knew how to get in touch with him. So I just basically sent him a message on Messenger, on Facebook Messenger. He got back in touch with me, and I said, do you still do artwork? He said, I don't really. But he said, I'm always interested in projects. He doesn't do album artwork. He still does art. He said, but I'm always interested in album project. Let's have a chat. So we basically had a conversation on the phone, and he was intrigued by our story. And so he said, I really like, the fact you've come up against everything, and you're still
Sure.
doing it 25 years on. So he basically, we commissioned him to do the 25th anniversary artwork and the album artwork for our previous album, The Truth Behind the Lies. So he did both of those two pieces for us, and we just continued working with him ever since, really, because we're now friends. Me and my wife went over to see him about 4 weeks ago, and I spent the afternoon with Coot and his wife Denise, and we had a really good time. And I think he showed me his studio where he does all his work and everything, and he's just a phenomenal artist. And he his artwork, he paints it all. It's all airbrush, so it's not like digital stuff like most other artists are doing. It's all hand. It's traced and airbrushed and scratched and all sorts. So yeah, it's really good. I mean, it makes it a bit more difficult for producing merchandise, etc. But luckily, we've got a guy in Indonesia called Cadet, who's helped us out with a lot of stuff as well. He did all the single artwork. So yeah, we're pretty covered on the imagery, I would say.
Yes, I always loved the style of his artwork, because it's almost as looking at a tattoo artist's work.
Yeah.
I also wanted to ask you, did the title track come before the name of the album, or was the name a working title for you?
I think I think I had the title first. I think I had the title sort of around about 2022, something like that. Because definitely the riff that Andy created for the title track was sort of around that we heard in maybe 21, 22, probably 22. Yeah. So it was a couple of years. Yeah, either late 2021 or 2022. So I think I did have the title, and I sort of snuck it into the lyrics of the second verse, if I remember. Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you if you could speak on one of my favorite tracks, which is Section 21.
Yes.
How did that one come to you?
Do you mean musically or lyrically?
Both. Yes.
Both. Right. So the way that we always work is Andy will come up with ideas at home, just on his computer. You know, he'll put a basic drum beat down and he'll just jam along to it. So he came up with a couple of riffs that we really, really liked. So basically it'll give us like, you would say, back in the day it would be a tape, but obviously it's not now. It's like an MP3. And he said, these are the ideas I've got. So they're always called like riff 1, riff 2, whatever. And then we'll listen to them. And I think Section 21 was one of the later ones that he sort of brought to the table. And he said, you know, there was like 2 or 3 riffs. So we kind of sat in the studio, because we've got a little studio set up where we rehearse. And me and him just went through and we were like listening to these riffs. And I said, right, if you put that one, you know, the intro riff with that, add that together. And then we sort of came up with the concept of the song in terms of how it would be structured. And then lyrically, I can't really remember how I came up with the melody, but I know that the pre-chorus, I kind of whined it a bit when I was doing the demo of it. I sort of snared it, and it's almost a bit Alice in Chainsy, isn't it? You know, that sort of well, it's not really a harmony, but that kind of tone. And that's how I sort of came up with it. And then the chorus was a bit more aggressive as well. But then lyric-wise, in the UK, there's lots of rented accommodation. So where people will, you know, rent out to tenants, etc. And there's a few programs in the UK called Slum Nightmare Tenants, Slum Landlord, or something like that. And it's where you'll get a tenant who'll move in, and then they won't leave, and then like almost like they're squatting in the property, and they ruin it. You know, they basically wreck lovely houses and don't pay the rent as well. So, and it's just really about that theme. That was the idea, because I'd written a list of things that I thought I was going to write songs about probably a couple of years ago, and that was one of them. I had on my iPhone Nightmare Tenant, and yeah, it just sort of came together, and it was like it plays 2 characters really. Some of the verses are, you know, the landlord, and then the other verses are the tenant really. So I think it works quite well. I've kind of explored that sort of approach before on other songs as well, which has worked quite well for me. So I've sort of stuck with that.
And not taking away from the other children, but I feel that this is your strongest effort to date as a band. And I wanted to ask you, how has the journey been? I mean, we started this journey in, I believe, 98. Is that correct?
Well, the first album came out in 98, but we'd already done 4 years in solitary at that time. So yeah, so it's 30 years this year. So I think it's my favourite album, but I always love everything that we release when it comes out. You probably have to ask me in 2 or 3 years' time whether it's still my favourite. Because I really like the last one, The Truth Behind the Lies, but I'm kind of leaning back a bit more to the Diseased Art Society in terms of the overall strength of the albums when you compare them to each other. But this one definitely, for me, sounds the best.
Yes, I think so as well.
But we just wrote the songs and they just all fit together quite well. But you sort of get an idea when we were demoing it, when we did all the sort of pre-production demos, you kind of know whether you've sort of hit the nail on the head. And it's quite, I think Settle Scores the Old Way, that was when we demoed it, it was like, yeah, it's okay. Yeah. you know, it sounds okay. We'll be all right with that one. And I was always kind of thinking that more of a towards the end of the album filler. But when it was recorded and when it was mixed by Simon and Piers, it's like, well, yeah, this needs to be early on, and that's why we released it as a single because it was so strong.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, during your long and great history, I wanted to ask you, along that journey, what do you feel has been the best advice that's been given to you along your path? I've been given plenty of advice. Some of it has been relevant, some of it's been irrelevant. But I would say probably the best advice I've ever had is just to enjoy the moment, you know, enjoy it for what it is rather than sort of clambering for the next thing, because life's pretty short, you know, 30 years on and 30 years of being in a band, and I'm still sort of striving for the best thing, but you kind of miss the moments when you're in them because you're thinking about what's happening next, or well, if we do this, this may happen. Whereas really you should just appreciate it for what it is and enjoy it, you know. So I would say that that's probably my motto. Whether it's the advice that I've been given, I don't know. Perhaps I've just conjured that up myself. And I wanted to ask you as well, during this band as well, what would you say has been your proudest moment?
I honestly believe it's this album and just the fact that we've released it ourselves. We've set up our own sort of record label. We've got our own distribution. We've done everything. Everything is down to us with this. Obviously, apart from the production and the, you know, the creation of the artwork, but you know, we've got our hands all over it, and everything else previously is we've always had people helping, like record labels, etc. But the fact that, you know, we can sit here and see our album, well, you know, the fact that you've heard it, Bob, proves that we've done something right, and it's all our doing. So I'd say that's definitely my proudest moment. I mean, we've had great moments, we've had great shows, great reviews, etc. But I think when I look back on it all, when it's all comes to an end, I'll look back at sort of September 2024, well, just 2024 as a whole, but then definitely September 2024 when this album came out, and think, yeah, no, we did that with our, you know, we've done it of our own accord, and it's all our hard work that's paid off. So.
And the band has such a unique sound, a great feel through the listen. I wanted to ask you, what were some of the bands that influenced your style, and how did you use those styles to form your
own? Well, I would say I was always massively influenced by all the Bay Area bands. Well, just the whole thrash thing, really, from the 80s. But then in terms of what we do, I think we were quite, the Machine Head's first album obviously influenced our early sound. And I think that still kind of sticks a bit because we're still in a similar tuning to what we were then, and similar to the tuning that they've got. So that's why we've got that heavy end. But then we tend to write, you know, in a similar vein to sort of Testament and Slayer and bands like that, and then also incorporate, you know, some of. I like to try and get. I'm not the greatest singer, but I like to try and get the hooks and the melody in there. So I listen to things. I'm you know, I'm intrigued by bands like Killswitch Engage, how they can go from quite gruff, you know, sort of extreme vocals to those really soaring vocal patterns and parts, and that's I can't replicate that, but that's always in my mind. I've always think, right, well, if I could get a song that sounded as good as that, and I suppose filtering hindsight of the new one's probably my most melodious moment. And yeah, there's definitely a few hooks in there. But then Simon's kind of pushed me down that route as well, because he's a singer, and he's like, yeah, Rich, we've got to get you to, you know, sound unique almost. So hopefully I've done that.
You have indeed. And speaking of your unique sound, I wanted to ask you, where did the journey begin for you? How old was you when you got the idea that, hey, I'm going to create this thing and make this reality?
10th of December 1990. I won a competition in the local paper to meet Zentrix. Obviously, you'll know who Zentrix are, and to spend the day with them when they recorded their live album Diluted. Well, the tracks of the live album Diluted Taste. So from that moment on, I wanted to be a musician and wanted to be in a band. So that was the moment. And then the fact that I became friends with them, and that, you know, when I was a young kid, they used to let me go on shows and, you know, go backstage doing the guitars, etc., selling T-shirts. Thought this is I need to replicate this myself. So because it was great, you know, and they were great with me, and I think that was the point. And then it probably took me, I think we formed Solitary in '94, so that would be 4 years later. But I think I formed my first band in '92. We couldn't play a note, we were terrible, but we were doing it. You know, we were doing terrible Metallica covers. Well, Metallica songs aren't terrible, just our versions of them were appalling. And yeah, so that was that. You know, I basically I did my paper round, and I saved my money up and bought a guitar, and then managed to buy a microphone and a little amp to sing through. So yeah, that's where it all started, long time ago, 35 years ago. Yeah.
And what was your
34 years
first
ago.
guitar?
My first guitar, it was in the Kerrang magazine. They used to do an amp and guitar package called an Axe, and I had one of those. Terrible thing. It was like a Fender Stratocaster copy, but it was all black, so it looked really metal, and it had Axe on the body. And yeah, I don't think I played it that much, to be honest. I think it was so poorly made that I couldn't have any strings with a higher gauge than about an 8 on it.
Wow.
Used to bend the neck, so yeah, it didn't hang around for very long. And then I bought a Flying V off my guitar teacher. That was my next thing. It was like you know, the sort of Gibson Flying V rip off. I can't remember what make it was, but yeah, that. And then I got after that, I had a
And
BT.
what lies ahead for you? What's the next step for the band?
Well, we start the UK tour on Friday. So
Wow.
first dates in Manchester on Friday, then we're in London on the Saturday, and then the following weekend we're in Edinburgh and Leeds, and then we go to Wales to play Wrexham at the end of September. Then we've got a bit of a gap because I think, you know, we've worked so hard this year that we needed a bit of a break from it all. So although we've not been playing, we've had so much to do. You know, we're shooting videos and recording albums and getting ready to release everything, that we're sort of taking October off from so we can go on holiday. I think Royston's going away. I'm away as well. And then we're back in November. We're over to Ireland for 3 dates, and then we finish off in Birmingham. And then 2025 is probably where we really pick it up. Trying to get out to Europe, and then other shows in the UK. So that's the plan.
And as far as the DIY adventure for you this time around, are you booking your own stuff as well?
Well, we've got a booking agent, but yeah, some of the shows are. What we've done is we've hired the venues, and we've become the promotions team behind it as well. So that's going all right, you know. So we're in control of everything. It is a bit stressful because you keep looking at the ticket sales, thinking, are we going to break even here or not? Are we going to lose some money? But it's looking okay at the moment. But I think we've just got to kind of build enough of a fan base really to be able to make it sustainable. At the moment, you know, he still does cost us money. So we'd like to get in a position not to make money, but to break even, and we're getting closer.
And is there any plans for a tour of the US?
I think it's highly unlikely. It would cost a lot of money for us to get over to the US, and there'd have to be somebody who's prepared to invest that. I don't think the four of us could afford to have flights and all the associated costs and visas, etc., going to America. But it'd be lovely to do it. But I think you're going to have to come to us.
And I also wanted to ask you, What's the best way to get merchandise and a physical copy of the album?
You can get it from our website, which is solitary.org.uk. But obviously, you know, if we're shipping to America, there's the cost of doing that. I think the albums are available in America. I'm pretty sure they are, because they're on Amazon. So I don't know whether you could get it via import, but yeah, definitely. If you come to us, you can definitely get shirts and vinyl and CDs, etc. I know. I mean, a lot of stuff has gone. Well, when I say a lot of stuff, a number of packages went out to America when we did the pre-orders. So it's doable. It's just you're just paying about the same in postage as you are for the product itself. You know.
Sure. And the best way, I always tell everyone, get together with your friends, make one order to save yourself that cost.
That's it. Yeah.
I mean, that's the best way now for the metal community to do it, because postage has become absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it has, yeah.
And lastly, I wanted to ask you, if you could give any message to your fans, what would that message be?
I'd just say thanks for being there throughout the years. You know, if you've been there since 94, 95 and you're still here, thank you. And then if you're relatively new to us, you know, everybody's just as important, because without people listening to us, there's, you know, we're not anything, are we? So, you know, yeah, just keep listening and we'll keep playing, we'll keep making noise.
And I want to add that if you like this album, you will definitely like the rest of the catalog, because I enjoyed the catalog from top to bottom. I've been a fan for quite a while.
Yeah.
And it's been a total honor to speak with you today, my friend.
Oh, don't be silly, Bob. You know, I'm just a normal bloke. But yeah, but you know, it's always nice to speak to anybody about the music we make. So yeah, thank you.
Sure. I think you know, a lot of people could save a lot of issues if they take time to unwind, listen to music, and get that escapism to take away stress or your problems of your day, or maybe pump an extra 10 pounds in the gym, whatever it is. Music to me is the best outlet that's out there.
Yeah, well, yeah, listen to us. You'll be able to pump 20 pounds extra and run very fast.
Well, thank you again, my friend. It's been a pleasure, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, same to you. Take care, my friend. Speak to you soon.
Cheers.
Cheers, Bob. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey, that went great, my friend.
Good. I'm glad.
I was supposed to have surgery yesterday. I didn't know what my condition would be today, but they canceled the surgery. So I'm doing okay, I guess. But I just shaved my goatee and everything for his surgery, and I was like, oh geez, you know. And then I get there and they go, oh, we found your test, you got kidney infection, so we're looking at February 20th. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So I'm having a third knee replacement. My body keeps rejecting all my knee replacements.
Oh, Jesus.
So it's just been an ongoing battle. But yeah, I wanted to tell you, you know, honestly, I've been a fan for a long time, and it has been an honor for me to speak with you today. I enjoy your music from top to bottom.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. You're on our mailing list and everything, aren't you, from the website?
Yes.
Yeah. So you get all the stuff through.
Yeah. Well, thank you, my friend. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Yeah, same to you, Bob. Yeah, have a good day, mate. Take care of those knees. Yeah.
Will do. Cheers.
See you soon, man. Bye-bye.